It was a sunny Monday morning in the small town of Willow Creek. The streets buzzed with energy as students, young and eager, carried backpacks and chatted with friends on their way to class. Among them was Sarah Williams, a 40-year-old mother of two, whose presence was different from the rest. She wore a simple blue sweater, jeans, and carried a brand new backpack, the first she had owned in decades. Her heart beat faster with every step she took toward Willow Creek Community College. She had not been inside a classroom for more than 20 years. Most of her life had been spent raising her children, cooking meals, helping with homework, and juggling part-time jobs. But today, she was here for herself. Not as a mom, not as a housewife, but as a student. Just a few months earlier, Sarah hadn't imagined herself in this position. She could still remember the moment it all began. She was standing by the kitchen sink, hands deep in soapy water, when her daughter, Lily, burst in from school, excitement written across her face. Lily spoke quickly about her science project, comparing baking to chemistry. Sarah laughed, admitting she'd never finished college. Without hesitation, Lily asked, "Why not go back? You always tell us to chase our dreams." Those words stayed with Sarah long after the conversation ended. That evening, she brought it up to her husband, Tom, over dinner. He listened carefully, then smiled and said, "If this is something you want, we'll make it work. You've always been there for us. Now it's our turn to be there for you." The decision was made. Nervous but determined, Sarah enrolled in English Composition 101, her first college class in decades. Now here she was, walking across campus toward the main building. She passed a group of teenagers lounging by a fountain. They laughed at something, and one whispered, "Is that someone's mom?" Sarah's cheeks burned, but she kept walking. Inside the building, she found her classroom. It was bright, with large windows letting in the morning light. A tall young man looked up and asked, "Hi, are you the professor?" Sarah chuckled nervously and replied, "No, I'm a student, just like you." She took a seat near the middle, clutching her books. A few minutes later, the door opened and in walked Mr. Reynolds, the professor, a man in his early 50s with silver hair, glasses, and a warm smile. "Good morning, everyone," he said, handing out introduction forms. "Please fill out your name, age, and why you're taking this class." Sarah hesitated when she reached the age line. Should she tell the truth? With a deep breath, she wrote 40 and finished the form. When it was her turn to speak, she stood and said, "My name is Sarah Williams. I'm 40 years old. I'm here because it's never too late to learn." A few students looked surprised, but one young woman smiled, and the boy with headphones muttered, "Cool." It wasn't much, but it was enough to calm her nerves. The rest of the day went smoothly until lunchtime. Sarah sat alone in the cafeteria, quietly eating her sandwich. At a nearby table, two young students whispered, "I can't imagine my mom in college," one said. "Yeah," the other laughed, "she'd probably fall asleep in class." Sarah kept her eyes on her food, pretending not to hear, but the word stung. That night, she sat at the kitchen table, staring at her textbooks, wondering if she belonged in this place at all. Then she remembered Lily's voice, telling her to chase her dreams. Sarah closed her eyes, took a breath, and decided she would not give up. Over the next few weeks, she worked harder than she had in years. She stayed up late studying after her children went to bed, scribbling notes by the kitchen light. She asked questions in class, took detailed notes, and even helped a classmate named Jenny understand a writing assignment. "Thanks, Sarah," Jenny told her. "You explain things better than Mr. Reynolds." Slowly, the sideways glances faded, replaced by friendly nods and hallway greetings. The turning point came when Mr. Reynolds returned their first essays. Sarah unfolded hers and saw in neat red handwriting, A+. Excellent work. She smiled to herself. It was proof she could do this. One afternoon, Sarah was assigned to a group project with the boy. His name was Ethan. At first, he seemed unsure how to talk to her, but as they worked side by side, he relaxed. "I thought you'd be all strict and boring," he admitted with a grin. "But you're actually cool." Sarah laughed. Their project ended up earning the highest score in the class. Mr. Reynolds praised their teamwork, and Ethan told his friends, "Sarah's the reason we did so well." From that moment on, Sarah noticed something had changed. She was no longer the old mom. She was simply a student, just like everyone else. 2 years later, Sarah stood backstage at the college auditorium, dressed in a black cap and gown. Her heart raced, just like it had on her first day. From the stage, she could hear families cheering for their graduates. In the audience, Tom and Lily waved, their smiles bright. When her name was called, Sarah walked across the stage, shook the dean's hand, and accepted her diploma. She blinked back tears. She had faced the fear, the laughter, and the long nights of studying, and she had won. After the ceremony, Lily ran up and hugged her tightly. "See, Mom, I told you, you can do anything." Sarah knelt down and looked her daughter in the eye. "And so can you, sweetheart. It's never too late to be brave." In that moment, Sarah knew her journey had been about more than a piece of paper. It had been about proving to herself, her family, and anyone who doubted that courage has no age. As she walked out of the auditorium into the bright afternoon sun, diploma in hand, she felt lighter, stronger, and ready for whatever came next.